Ukraine and the United States of America have prepared an updated framework document on peace. It was published yesterday following the conclusion of negotiations in Geneva. The discussions between the American and Ukrainian delegations regarding the U.S. peace proposal were constructive, thorough, and marked by mutual respect, the document notes. This underscores the shared commitment to achieving a just and lasting peace. Ukraine and the United States plan to continue intensive work on joint proposals in the coming days.
Both sides confirmed that any future agreement must respect Ukraine's sovereignty and ensure a sustainable and just peace. The final decisions on this framework document will be made by the presidents of Ukraine and the United States. Both sides reaffirmed their readiness to continue working together to achieve a peace that can guarantee Ukraine's security, stability, and recovery, according to the joint statement by Ukraine and the United States. But
Ukraine is stepping up its diplomatic efforts to bring the war to an end. President Volodymyr Zelenskyy announced this in his traditional address to the Ukrainian people. He reported that Kyiv is in direct dialogue with representatives of the United States. The head of the Ukrainian state emphasized that Ukraine's interests are protected. The main round of the U.S.-Ukrainian meeting in Geneva has concluded. U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio stated that the White House is making some changes to the peace plan. He added that members of the delegation are currently working on Ukraine's proposals. In addition, Rubio called today's meeting the most productive and significant of all the times the Donald Trump team has participated in the process of resolving the war. We have, at this point,
a very good working product based on the opinions of all interested parties. We went through each point one by one, and I think we've made good progress. We are working on some changes and adjustments, hoping to narrow the differences and move closer to something that will be beneficial for Ukraine and obviously for the United States as well. Ultimately, our presidents will have to approve this. And of course, there is also the Russian side. I think the takeaway from this is as follows. This is a very, very significant meeting, and I would say the best one throughout the entire negotiation process.
The United States Congress must have the right to review the peace plan that will determine the terms for ending Russia's war against Ukraine. This statement was made by Republican Senator Lindsey Graham. According to him, lasting peace in Ukraine should mean that Russia will not attack in the future. And today, the European Union will hold a special meeting of leaders on Ukraine and the United States peace plan. It was organized by the President of the European Council, Antonio Costa. According to him, the discussion of Ukraine took place on the sidelines of the G20 summit. The American plan, consisting of 28 points, contains important elements that could serve as the basis for a just and lasting peace. Costa stated that the EU is ready to join further work on the documents and invited all 27 leaders of the European Union to a meeting on the sidelines of the EU-Africa Union summit in Luanda. The countries of Northern Europe and the Baltics confirmed their steady support for Ukraine in its fight against Russian aggression. This was stated in a joint declaration by the leaders of the Northern Baltic 8. They held telephone talks with President Volodymyr Zelenskyy and emphasized that Europe's security directly depends on Ukraine. From
the very beginning of Russia's aggressive war, we have stood by Ukraine and will continue to do so. Ukraine is demonstrating that it is serious about peace. Russia, on the other hand, has yet to commit to a ceasefire or take any steps toward ending the war. We will continue to arm Ukraine and strengthen Europe's defense to deter further Russian aggression. In
Germany, the latest underwater drones called Grey Shark have been developed to protect the Baltic Sea from possible sabotage. According to the developers, the Shark drones are based on artificial intelligence and are literally packed with advanced technology. They will monitor the waters of the Baltic Sea, detect enemy reconnaissance units, and protect critical infrastructure. Mass production of the Grey Shark could begin as early as next year. The main
advantage of the drones is that they have what is known as stealth capability. They are very difficult to detect. As I mentioned earlier, the drones can also be used for anti-submarine warfare to detect and track enemy submarines. I should note that the capabilities of underwater drones are rapidly developing and expanding.
However, Berlin is opposed to Russia returning to the G8 group. This was stated by German Chancellor Friedrich Merz after the conclusion of the G20 summit in Johannesburg. According to the politician, the G7 countries are not ready to accept Russia back into the organization, and a decision to restore the format is only possible with full consensus. French President Emmanuel Macron previously expressed the same position, stating that he does not see any conditions for Putin's Russia to return to the group of leading economies. Let me remind you that the Russian Federation was excluded from the G8 in 2014 after the occupation of Crimea. However, the United States included the topic of Russia's possible return to the G8 in its peace plan for Ukraine. The document assumed that the Russian Federation would be able to gradually reintegrate into the global economy. Two people were injured as a result of the morning Russian attack on Chernihiv. Russia launched attack drones, a hit was recorded in a residential area, a fire broke out and a private house caught fire. The consequences of the attack are currently being clarified. According to preliminary data, 4 people were killed and at least 13 were injured as a result of the Russian drone attack on Kharkiv last night. More than a dozen explosions thundered in the city and fires broke out. Among the injured are a 12-year-old boy and an 11-year-old girl. Private houses, apartment buildings, businesses, and civilian infrastructure have been damaged. Ukrainian defenders attacked a chemical plant in temporarily occupied Crimea. According to Robert Brody, head of the UAV systems of the Ukrainian Armed Forces, the plant in question is a bromine production facility in Krasnoperekopsk. He stated that the enterprise operates for the military complex of the occupying authorities. The plant is considered one of the largest on the peninsula. The main substation in Krasnoperekopsk, a key node in the peninsula's power system, was also hit. Maiden noted disruptions in the operation of several power grids and added that gasoline is becoming scarce for Russians while gas and oil are being depleted rapidly. But Russian propaganda is spreading new fake news about the head of Ukrainian intelligence, Kyrylo Budanov. This was reported by the main intelligence directorate of the Ukrainian Ministry of Defense. False information has appeared on social media, allegedly claiming that his profile on the X platform was created in the Russian Federation. As supposed proof, a doctored screenshot with fake registration data is being circulated. The main intelligence directorate states that this information is false and is yet another information attack by Russian special services. Its goal is to discredit the leadership of Ukrainian intelligence. The agency urges people to maintain information hygiene. Citizens are asked not to trust anonymous sources and to obtain information only from the official pages of the main intelligence directorate.
Every voice matters. Join our community, support independent journalism and help us bring you the truth from Ukraine. Become a member of Ukraine Today. Join us now.